Well, there is no denying it. We have entered a definitive bear market. Bitcoin is down nearly 60% from its all-time high. And for the past 7 months, we have been sliding and sliding down. Crypto winter, it's upon us. But all winters begin with a capitulation dump, bringing all types of investors to their knees. What's going to cause it this time around? We'll find out in about 10 minutes because it's time for Chico Crypto. Now, many would argue that the Terra Luna death spiral was the capitulation dump of this bear market. It was devastating and rippled throughout the entire crypto industry, bringing many investors to their knees. But not all investors. There will be one more implosion which rocks the crypto markets, even making the biggest bulls turn bearish. So what could it be? Well, there is Celsius Network. Now, many people believe Celsius had overexposed themselves to Terra Luna and UST, but CEO of Celsius, Alex Mashinsky, took to Twitter to dispel those rumors. He said, "At Celsius Network, we have stated several times publicly that we had minimal exposure to Luna and UST. I understand people who are trying to sell you competing services are spreading these rumors, but you have to trust our Twitter posts." So, according to Alex, they weren't overexposed. But that may not be the reason for their downfall. It may be just what Celsius is doing with the money. Digging deeper into Celsius, there are very suspect transactions. And I would like to thank YouTuber Upper Echelon Gaming for this content and research. But I'm going to go through it myself right now. Diving into Celsius Network Wallet 5, a crypto wallet directly tied to Celsius Network, which executes transactions for them, we can see this wallet has executed over 560,000 transactions with a ton of volume. Now, nothing looks suspect on the surface, but if you sort the transactions by outgoing, you start to see something suspicious. There are certain transactions of 5 Ether sent to random wallets. And if you dive into the wallet it's sent to, that wallet periodically takes the 5 Ether, then distributes the 5 Ether into thousands of transactions of 0.025 ETH each to random wallets. This one on screen has over 14,000 transactions, and each 0.025 ETH goes to a brand new wallet each time. This wallet alone has processed over 700 Ethereum, now worth over 1.4 million. Now, when these random wallets receive the 0.025 ETH, they usually just make one transaction, swapping the received ETH into another token or stable coin. This is odd, wouldn't you say? Well, it's not just one wallet, it's hundreds of wallets. On just 5 pages of Celsius Wallet 5, there were 50 different wallets, collectively taking in over 2,400 Ethereum, worth nearly $5 million. Doing the same thing, dispersing it in 0.025 ETH increments, where they convert the money to a group of 5 to 6 different coins or stable coins, and then they go dark. This has been going on for years, and the amount of ETH being distributed like this probably is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Here is a visualization of what this looks like. This is not natural. This is not interest payments. This is not gas payments. This is not going to Celsius's regular customers. The only reasonable explanation for this is something much more nefarious. Could it be money laundering? Well, here is information on a laundering technique called a peel chain. It says, peel chain is a technique to launder a large amount of cryptocurrency through a lengthy series of minor transactions. A small portion is peeled from the subject's address in a low-value transfer. These incremental outputs are often directed to exchanges where they can be converted to fiat currencies or other assets. The subject's remaining UTXO passes to a new change address, and then the process repeats. Due to the small amounts of each individual transfer, outputs from a peel chain are less likely to raise red flags for AML compliance at virtual asset exchanges, or trigger mandatory reporting to tax and regulatory authorities. Peeling some money off the top, Celsius? Well, that would be more than enough to put them in some hot water, contributing to an eventual investigation of their platform and their collapse. But speaking of investigations, let's now get into the meat of this episode, Tether USDT. If you didn't know, Tether, the company, and its executives are the center of a criminal probe by the U.S. Department of Justice in regards to bank fraud. The article on this states, but the Justice Department investigation is focused on conduct that occurred years ago when Tether was in its more nascent stages. Federal prosecutors have been circling Tether since at least 2018. In recent months, they sent letters to individuals alerting them that they're the targets of the investigation. So what happened to Tether in those early days, years ago? Well, bank fraud, of course. This payments.com article sums it up very nicely. An alleged shadow banker for cryptocurrency exchanges is facing up to 90 years in jail after pleading guilty to bank fraud conspiracy, and operation of an unlicensed money transmitting business. The Department of Justice said on April 25th that Reginald Fowler, a former co-owner of the NFL's Minnesota Vikings, had been charged with facilitating the fraudulent processing of $750 million from a number of top exchanges, beginning as early as 2013 through 2019, when U.S. banks had cut off the industry. Fowler acted on behalf of Crypto Capital, the DOJ alleged, saying the company provided fiat currency banking services to various cryptocurrency exchanges through a series of bank accounts opened under false pretenses, in order to allow those exchanges to send and receive fiat payments. Among those using its services were Kraken, which ended its relationship with the company in early 2017, and Bitfinex, which wishes it did. The exchange was forced to borrow $625 million from its sister company, USDT, stablecoin issuer Tether, in 2019 after $850 million of its funds went missing. Tether got involved with a shady company who was committing bank fraud, Crypto Capital, and their fall guy, Reginald Fowler. And since they lost all that money, $850 million, they had to borrow it from somewhere. The money was borrowed in 2018, late 2018 to be exact. During this time, when Bitfinex and Tether lost the $850 million, the Tether market cap was reduced by a whopping 44%, from over 3.5 billion Tethers to just about 2 billion. Guess what this preceded? The 2018 capitulation dump. From November 2018 to December 2018, BTC went from the 6K level down to a low of about 3,200. Now, I'm sure most of you have noticed this. Tethers are being reduced once again by the largest level since that 2018 reduction due to them losing $850 million. Tether's market cap has been reduced by over 10 billion, over 14% of the supply in just the last couple of weeks. Is this preceding another capitulation dump like what came in 2018? So what could be coming? Well, Mr. Bitfinex, who has been on Tether's case for years and years, tweeted this just yesterday. He said, disclosure of Tether reserves could be another reason why insiders are dumping Tether. They could be expecting that Tether loses this fight and everyone finds out what kind of garbage they have on their balance sheet. With a court document that says, although petitioners claim that the information already available is substantial, and petitioners' disclosures provide market participants with information that can be used to assess the riskiness of the vast majority of Tether reserves, it is worth noting, following the collapse of another stablecoin, investors in Tether recently withdrew over $7 billion, reportedly amid fresh fears about its stablecoin's backing, and raising new questions about the reserves it claims backs its stablecoin. Consequently, it is now more necessary than ever to require disclosure of the information around the nature of the reserves backing petitioners' Tether stablecoin as requested. The heat in court to find out exactly what is backing Tether is on like Donkey Kong. So, Celsius and Tether, those are my top two contenders for causing the capitulation dump this time. But it's not only these guys playing with fire. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, is also being probed by US officials, the Justice Department, and the IRS. and that probe was expanded in September of last year to include insider trading. So beware, my friends, this capitulation dump could even come from an announcement of charges brought against Binance. So be safe, be smart, we will make it through it. Cheers, viewers, I'll see you next time.